My name is Haruho and I am an international relations major and a psychology minor at Mount Allison University, which is located in New Brunswick, and spent my summer here in Toronto and had an internship with Toronto Alpha. I only learned about the history of Asia during the Second World War by the end of my high school years. So I had gone through elementary school, middle school, and the beginning of my high school without knowing the history of this part of the world. So I only learned about it at the very end of compulsory education. And then during my university years, I decided that I wanted to learn more about what I didn't know. And so this is how I have become more knowledgeable about the past, but still learning. There's still a lot to learn more about it. As a Japanese woman, I still think that it resonates in me personally and academically. Personally, I am from Japan, so I am directly related to the issues that are being talked about, whether it is military sexual slavery, Unit 731, or any of these humanitarian issues that are being debated about today. I think it has direct relationship to my ethnical background, as well as academically. My lack of academic knowledge about this history that relates to me personally, the fact that I don't know enough about it, I think that shows me that there is a lot more to learn and that I need to take the time to be more knowledgeable about it. Maybe the only Japanese person here in the office, and I have asked around the Japanese community what they think about Alpha and why there aren't any more people that are of my nationality are involved in Alpha, and they have told me some maybe an idea that might have conveyed how Toronto Alpha was difficult to gather Japanese scholars, students, educators, just because they're not aware of the issues. So perhaps this can be one key to opening the door and inviting more Japanese scholars and students to become aware of this issue and raise awareness so that more and more people can learn true world history. So my task here as an summer intern, was to coordinate a book about the testimonials during the Nanjing massacre. And what I learned was how the system was created during those military times. And you can evidently see that it was strict for both sides in the story. So the Japanese soldier side as well as the Chinese victim side. Both sides have a very structured way of being a part of society. And I think it was very hard for both sides to be a part of society. And the fact that that structure was so nascent in the time of the Nanjing massacre that it might have been an inevitable part of history. But yes, it happened, but now we must take the past and learn from it, digest it, and see how we can make a new future. Maybe just knowing about each other, knowing about your friends and their background and their family and what kind of environment they came from, and you being able to share also where you come from, and just creating an arena where you can talk about those things. I think that is one way of achieving justice and peace. And so I think the key is to have an open mind, and regardless of what the headlines of major media sources say, regardless of I don't know, maybe a skewed version of history you might have gotten from your past education, I think regardless of that, you have your own values as a person, and those values can enable ways of achieving peace. And yeah, so I think, as I said before, just being able to talk about your personal background and without any restrictions, and having someone that will listen to you and you doing the same is a key to achieving justice. And I think that Alpha maybe does that for us. Alpha's mission, I think it's to create those a comfortable area for young people to be able to talk about things maybe they're not able to talk about anywhere else, because it's not every day you talk about history of Asia during the Second World War. But because Alpha creates this area where students with the background that resonates during that time, maybe they can speak more comfortably about it. I think my main question is, why are people so different? Everyone has a different sense of opening up and being able to accept new ideas. And I just feel it is strange how some are willing to take the time to learn new issues, new perspectives, but others are very passionate about what they believe in. But I don't think that being too passionate about what you believe in is the best way. I think it's better to have an open mind and then choosing from all of the different perspectives what you agree with. Maybe it's a combination of everything, I don't know. But I think my one question that remains about humanity is, what is it that makes us so different towards this issue in particular? And I hope that we can come up with an answer. I think we are coming up with an answer as new projects take on, but that is a big question that still needs to be answered, I think. I think my one advice I can give is to take on challenges. Yes, it's going to be shocking and maybe very hard to accept that these things happened, but it's important to know. So rather than taking it and creating an enemy, us versus them, you have to take these issues and put it into your book of knowledge. So no matter what the scale is, it's good to know this because it's a part of history. And yes, you cannot say you learned world history unless you have learned about history of Asia during the Second World War. So my suggestion is be ready to face some maybe difficult times when you read about stories or read about the victim stories, but I think it's just a good chance for young students to learn about it, put it away, digest it, and then maybe pull it out some other time when you're ready to use it. This summer internship opportunity was probably the best summer, not because I was able to work, but also for me as a person. I am not I am not a very confident person, I don't think, but that is, even though that is one of my weaknesses, I've been able to overcome those weaknesses and use my strengths as a Japanese reader, writer, and listener. I have been able to use my language skills, both in English and Japanese, to make the best out of the summer. And that is actually something I have always wanted to work on the switch of two languages. And the fact that I'm able to do that in an area that I am very, very interested in, it is good for me academically and for personal growth. So it was a challenging summer, but I met fantastic people and made great connections, and I look forward to continuing to work with Alpha.